Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. First one back since being on vacation for a week, so hopefully you missed me. At this point, last week, you had a little bit of the downward pressure. A lot of people were actually extra scared with the market being closed, with what could have happened with North Korea. There was some money being raised probably to pay taxes, and then you had also some stalling in Trump's pro-growth agenda. So put it all together, and all it really amounted to was a 3% move off the highs in the S&P cash. So for me, I was pretty tactical, going into my trip, which wound up working in my benefit. Today, we had that flattish open. So I tweeted out saying, hey, let's see what happens here. We know last week slow. In order to break below, in order to correct more than what we've seen already, what do you have to do? I've hopefully trained you a little bit. You have to break below a prior day's low and stay below it, and then maybe there's more downside. Or what happens? You break below it, pushes down, shorts get trapped, you come back above it, and that creates a buyable bottom versus today's low. So today, some sectors opened up flat and just grinded up all day. Some pushed a tiny bit below yesterday's low and then reclaimed it. There was no selling pressure. And some stocks did the same. So even if you came in flat today, hoping for a gap down based on being oversold, and I'll say it was minus 31 to go down more, there was many different ways to position into some things and capture some of today's gains with risk defined. So question is, now what? You look at the chart of the S&P cash. If you look here, all in all, you had this broken wedge type pattern right around the 50-day, right around the 8 and 21-day. So at this particular point, you know what? It's coming back, and maybe it retests this and pause, or maybe retests this and fails, or maybe today's a misdirectional day. But as far as I'm concerned, I guess you could say that this is still intact, okay? And we're still in this choppy range. Usually this happens over the summer. It doesn't happen in March and April, but we do have earnings season, so we shall see. At this point, though, again, if you were short looking to cover on a gap down, you didn't have it. If you said, okay, I'm going to give it to a retest of the 50-day or this 2350-ish area, and you're holding overnight, you're taking overnight risk. For me, I came in flat. I did not buy the S&P cash, but I watched it pretty much grind all day, and we traded some other things. So at this point, this pattern is still intact. Perhaps if the bulls want something to change here, where it changes this descending channel, at some point it's going to have to get above this and stay above it, go sideways, and start a new trend back to highs. At this point, if you were neutral to negative yesterday, maybe today they've brought you back to just neutral. Not maybe neutral to positive, but neutral. But there are some things that got me a little neutral to positive. Let's talk about what they are. First of all, small caps didn't. Small caps, all they did is hold above Thursday's low. So anyone who went home short it said, oh, what am I going to do? Maybe they added and they stayed it. At this point, you really don't have to worry about your shorts if that's what you did until, it breaks above this and holds above this, which it might not. Maybe tomorrow you get a red dog reversal around this pivot. But all in all, this sideways channel over here is still building. Look how long this left shoulder took to maybe make a head. So a right shoulder could continue or not. It could be just consolidating what has been an enormous move, and this is how long it takes before it can go again. But today, probably a bit more powerful than the bears would have liked, but not so extreme. The XLF actually gave you a red dog reversal. Actually, no, it did not. Some stocks did, but this didn't. This came into the low. Okay, it held a little bit above it, and we'll see. It's been controlled by the 8-day, since breaking this, this level here. So we'll see if something happens into this or not. But today could have, today definitely trapped some shorts looking for a big gap down today. That didn't happen. So we'll see if we stay in this range and get some misdirection days or not. For those of you on the VTF, which is a paid product, you get to see what I'm doing play by play besides my entire note. That if you're Redler All Access, you get that, as far as what I'm looking at and 25 different names with strategies and this and that, and sometimes I could tweet my execution. But if I'm the VTF, you watch, I come in with 0 to positions besides stocks, and you see me get long some things. So first thing, let's talk about Wells Fargo. I got long Wells Fargo for the first time, I think, in a long time, right on the news that the insiders bought stock. CEO buying a lot of stock, another executive member buying a lot of stock. If you got out of this when it broke this upward spot or got out of it here today, you could have been a buyer who's pretty calculated and put a stop, and that's what I did. I had a meeting, I bought it right on the news, and I still have it. I think that, it could work its way back to here. So I took some long, even though Goldman and Bank of America earnings are tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I feel like, I bought some, I sold some into strength, and I'm holding some for a little bit more. And punching up Bank of America, nothing huge going on here, huge, except for what did it do? It broke below 22.34. What was the low today? 22.26. All right, so you could have, if you got out on this outside day, maybe you bought it when it came back above this, but then you're taking risk into earnings, which a lot of us don't do. But earnings, I think, are tomorrow morning with Goldman. This level is still holding, okay? Last time we were involved in this, I sold into strength thinking maybe it would get rejected at resistance, which it did, and now we'll see what happens here tomorrow. Goldman Sachs, it has earnings tomorrow also. Still holding this, going sideways, held that March 27th low, turned up today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. If you sold it when it broke trend here, that was in your control. Now, we'll see what it dictates with the action tomorrow. A few things, okay? Right off I guess, again, in the first 20 minutes, I did, well, not even first 20 minutes, first minute or so, I bought BABA, and I accumulated it throughout the course of the day. Why did I buy BABA and accumulate it? Because I just showed you the S&P getting down to the 50-day. Look at BABA. BABA is above the 8-day. One of the few stocks above the 8-day moving averages, closing strong. I hope I don't get some kind of surprise tomorrow where it, I don't know what could happen. China's down huge or a big downgrade, but all in all, this has been above the 8 and 21-day. Last time it broke out above this level, people probably took it home and got a little chopped up if they were impatient. And then today, maybe you buy some. If it opens down, you could buy more through the highs here, or it opens up. And it does seem like, this pattern is ready to retest the IPO highs. This GDP in China was better, and it's coming out with a lot of, additional stuff. Why not, after breaking above this spot and holding it, you would think that maybe it works its way back towards 120. So there is a void here. Just BABA is always, complicated. So if you're in it overnight, use your, you have to have risk. For me, I'm comfortable with this name. I've been trading it for a while. Got back on our radar here when it broke this descending channel there. And then some of us were long verse this gap up after earnings, and it's been a choppy path, but it looks as if, market doesn't get something crazy overnight. It's worth taking, and even if it does, it probably tries to go positive because it was a strong stock. Let's get back to high beta tech. In my note, I talked about how Google was tight. I did not trade it. Google, you wanted to say neutral negative, neutral positive. Well, Google broke above this spot, took back the 8 and 21-day. That's a start. So maybe Google starts acting better. Still, resistance is up here. I guess you could say it kind of held this trend, and it was stronger today. Not much you could say. If you came in flat Google, and you were short, you probably had to cover when they took back the moving averages, and this was 846. I know Chris sitting next to me, he's like, Red Dog, buy Google. I'm like, first day back, I don't feel like dealing with Google, and I missed a big move. Well, we'll see what happens here next. Amazon, which has been, on a little bit of defensive mode, had its first nice candle also. Here is your topping tail. This is when some of you guys shorted the following day, bounced off the 8-day, came in, held the 21-day, and then today was a little bit more powerful than the last two. So we'll see if it tries to head back up to here or not. All in all, though, above the 21-day moving average. A little bit below the 8, but if you give it more room, there's a 21-day. Look how far it came from here. So this is still, acting well. Okay, Facebook also, if you came in flat, there was, a little time to buy it. If you came in short, you know what? Back above the 8 and 21-day. So if I were you, I would have covered. But anyway, we'll see what happens here. Netflix, let me see what Netflix is doing. I know it came out after hours, and I think they hit it. Let's see. Netflix is down 440, so it's at 143. So Netflix, which was anticipating, I guess, a strong report. I don't know what it is exactly. I had to come in here. Basically, took back this. So, we talked in the morning call saying the only way you play Netflix after hours is if it gets above and stays above this. Obviously, it didn't do that. Or if it tries to retest, this lower level, which is 138. This is big time support. So see if support holds or see if it traded above momentum. At this point, it looks like it's like 143-ish, 142-ish, back in the noise. We'll see how it affects other momentum names tomorrow. What else? Tesla had a negative article in the Wall Street Journal. Some of you guys faded it. I did not. At this point, didn't fall apart. Still kind of tight. I still think it's a strong stock, well above the 21-day, well above the 8-day. A lot of negative talk on it. It still doesn't go down too much. We'll see if it gets tighter to get above this or not. Some people in the video were anticipating a huge gap down. Why were they anticipating that? Because the market closed down. This closed right into support. Didn't happen, so they got squeezed back to the 8-day. It's been controlled by the 8-day since this gap down. Powerful day, though. So if I was short it, I don't know, unless you have a thesis to be short, then you stay short. If you were playing it for it to break below this and see the 200-day, well, didn't happen today. So hopefully you covered. When could you have covered? I guess, once it broke above Thursday's high. This would have been a spot. If I was short, I would have said, okay, let me cover it here. Same way I was long here, and said, let me cover it if it gets below there. Now, at this point it was strong today, so I wouldn't be, I don't know, if using my rules, I would probably be long some overnight and then maybe try and sell it into the 21-day, or if I was looking to short it, look for a red dog reversal around this pivot, or maybe into the 21-day. But for when I see a candle like this, I try not to be shorted, especially since it's NVIDIA and there's a lot of eyeballs on that. So some guys are saying you got a little red dog reversal in the GLD. Could be. If that's the case, maybe that's a good sign for the market. What's a red dog reversal? Pushed through the prior high of 122.65, made a high here of 123.07. So you could have shorted it when it went back below this, made some money, and now hold a little bit that if the market opens up, maybe this comes in and tests the 8-day, which it's extended from. Day count rule, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, no matter what it is. You're usually not starting a new position. So hopefully that helped you if you weren't long gold chasing it today, or at least trimming some, especially if you added on this breakout here. So, at this point, I'd be long less if you've been long for a while, especially since here. And if you're looking for a cute short, here's a small signal that potentially tomorrow you get a little bit more downside, and then you'll see if the 8-day holds. So all in all, if you took off risks thinking that this weekend there could have been crazy bombs, the mother of all bombs was last week in Afghanistan, so maybe people thought it could happen in North Korea, it didn't. So, maybe uncommitted shorts covered, maybe people who were flat-footed bought some, and that helped fuel today's action. Tomorrow we'll see what type of open we have. Still in this range, we're not falling apart, not a lot of momentum. Some days they have muscle memory, some days they don't, so just whatever you're doing overnight, make sure you have some kind of reason for it. I am long a little Apple overnight. I was long in the beginning of the day, and then I wanted to see how it would handle 141. Traded below it. I actually gave a red dog reversal. Why is it a red dog reversal? It went as low as 140.87, below 141.05. So if you bought it when it reclaimed that, that is about, 15 cents worth of risk, and then it closed up at 141.80. So you could have made 75 cents or 15 cents worth of risk, and then if the market wants to get better, maybe it trades above this. So I'm in a little bit here overnight, and we'll see if there's any kind of follow-through tomorrow. I would be light. I'm pretty light, and we'll see what happens there. And that's it. It's good to be back. It's great to go on vacation, but it's even better to come back to something you love to do. Back to waking up 4:45. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be there telling you what's going on overseas. That's when I started writing my note. Goes to editing at 7:30. Goes in your mailbox at 8:30. If you want more, it's my tactical game plan on paper, and also gets aligned with the morning call long version, which is about 20 minutes. If not, tune in here, and we'll interact on the main sphere. Have a good night.